Hey coffee lovers, I'm Michael and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to use the Fellow Stagg XF to brew some coffee. I hope this video helps you to decide if you would like to use it or not. If you are new here, this channel is about pour-over tips and anything else related to the coffee brewing. So if you don't want to miss any videos I post, please subscribe now. Personally, I'm not using flat bottom drippers much in my coffee routine right now. But a couple of years ago, when I started to learn how to make a pour-over coffee, I like to use a Kalita dripper. I realized that flat bottom drippers are much easier to control and are very forgiving, no matter how much of a rookie you are in the pour-over coffee world. But after I learned a lot about the coffee, I found that flat bottom drippers sometimes made me feel limited. That is not the main issue I found with the Kalita dripper. I think the flow rate is too slow. That is very easy to over-extract the later phase of flavors in the coffee, leading to bitterness. Nowadays, I only use Kalita Wave if I have an extremely light roast coffee, because this kind of very light of the coffee beans are hard to extract flavors from. With the Kalita, because the flow rate means a longer brewing time, and if I add some stirring when it comes to the blooming phase, I can get a very balanced coffee in the end. However, when I got a chance to use the Fellow Stagg XF, it was like a punch in the face. It is very interesting. So there is another smaller size called Stagg X, but we are not going to talk about that today. Anyway, let's start with the design. The style is quite elegant and it is much lighter than the Ceramics V60. It is made of stainless steel and features a double wall insulated design, allowing us to maintain the optimal extraction temperature during the coffee brewing, resulting in a more complete extraction of the coffee flavors. As you can see at the bottom, there are 10 little holes to accelerate the flow rate. Compared with the Kalita, which has only 3 holes. I will do a little test on it later. Also, there's a rubber base to help it stand still on any kind of server you are using. You can see this dripper doesn't have any ribs. Water can just straight down, just like a cup. Very steep, just like the AeroPress, right? And the volume is pretty huge. The original recipe from Fellow recommends using 40 grams of coffee beans and 600 milliliters of water to make 2 cups of coffee. That is a lot compared with other drippers. But there is a downside here, the filter paper. This is like a unique one, just fit with this XF. I tried to use like the Kalita 185 filter to brew it. It was okay, but kind of weird, you know, and it is not really fit. It's a little bit like lower than the dripper. So I would say you might need to buy this unique filter for it. By the way, it comes in with this little cup. It helps you to measure your coffee beans, but I won't suggest that. Always use a scale to measure your coffee beans. But in a good way, it could help you to hold a dripper. It's like after you're brewing, you can put this cup onto this little cup. Helps you to keep your table clean and neat. I know you're wondering how it tastes compared with the Kalita Wave. But before that, we have to do a little test here, because I'm very curious about the flowing rate between this Fellow Stagg and the Kalita Wave. So I prepared 2 cups of the 200 milliliters for each. I'm trying to pour in, and let's find out which one the flow rate is the faster. For now, it's kind of tight, I would say. I'm not sure, but I think the Fellow one is like slower. The Kalita have only 3 holes, but this one has 10 holes. In theory, the Fellow Stagg should be faster, but the result is like almost the same. You know what? Let's try it if we take out the filter paper. Go. See? Totally different. I think the Fellow, this kind of filter paper is thicker. The material is kind of different. Kalita is like more rough. It's really like the paper, you know, just not much the texture on this paper. Maybe that is the reason why the Kalita Wave filter paper is faster, even if this Fellow Stagg has 10 holes. But if you have to use its own filter like this, the flow rate is not like what you think. All right, let's start to brew. So today I'm going to use 20 grams of coffee beans for each and 300 milliliters of the water to brew the coffee. By the way, I didn't mention that there is a little like funnel for this Fellow Stagg to help you to like pour all the coffee grounds in the middle of the dripper. Because today is just an experiment. If you are using this kind of bigger dripper, like this one, Kalita 185, you have to try to use much more grind. The water you pour, you don't want to like, it's far away with the coffee bed. And for this one, it's the same as well. If you're really using this, just use more grounds to brew a coffee, like 30, 40, much better, I think. Anyway, let's start to brew and let's see what the result. After you brew the Kalita dripper, you can see there's lots of like ground stuck in these ribs. And for the Fellow Stagg as well. So I think this is kind of this cake shape drippers problems. And you can see the flow rate is kind of slow. I only use 300 milliliter of the water, but we brew like almost 3 minutes. Flat bottom dripper, they will have a longer brewing time. But the good thing is that you don't need to too worry about how you pour your water. They are much easier to extract evenly. Let's taste it. So this one is the Fellow Stagg and this one is the Kalita Wave. It should be some like flower or like more juicy notes. It's like everything just went through it from the beginning and to the end. You just felt those bitterness and the body. The body is good and I think it's average. If you want more layers, I didn't think that I found out in this cup. So Kalita apparently giving more layers and provide more fruity notes in the beginning. You can feel the sweetness, acidity, and everything is like extract very evenly. But the Fellow Stagg, more body inside. Butter and the bitterness and everything is more like much stronger. So if you don't like those acidity, maybe you'll like this cup. But for me, a little bit acidity is much better for the coffee and I like that taste. Maybe we can do the adjust. We use the Kalita Wave filter to using this Fellow Stagg. Oh, by the way, another thing is that many people are curious when they first see the Fellow dripper, right? Its design is very different from the usual drippers. When we use the cake filter for brewing, which means that we don't need to build a wall of coffee grounds. The folded edge of the filter filled with like coffee ground allowed for even extraction in a semi-immersion state. The semi-immersion means the dripper has a slower flow rate compared to the conical dripper, right? But with a few brewing adjustments, the Fellow dripper, because it's stainless steel and double wall dripper, and can easily let you like recreate your favorite flavors. And the benefit is that you can keep the temperature steady. In conclusion, for me, if I'm going to like host a group of the people, this dripper helps because you can use 40 grams of coffee beans and you can make 600 milliliter of the coffee easily. And it is easy to ask anybody to brew the coffee without needing a special skill set. So I think this dripper is like immersion brewing plus the percolation brewing, because when you are brewing like 600 milliliter of the water, you can just put all the water in and just let it like slowly drip out all the coffee. You can do the blooming and then you just pour all the water in. What do you think about this dripper? Do you think that it's worth it or not? Please leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. That is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this video and don't forget to subscribe. See you around and happy brewing. Check.